8 good things happening in travel right now. I'm Chris, this is Yellow Productions. I do travel guides that are fun, informative, entertaining. This video, it's a live stream. If you're on the live stream, I look forward to hanging out with you guys for about the next 45 minutes or so. I'll be doing the content at the beginning, talking about what is good right now. And with all the dark and depressing news lately, and many of us shut in, locked in our homes, in quarantine, can't go outside, there actually are some good things in travel, even though it seems like we might not be able to travel all that much right now. And after I get through those 8 items, I'll be doing some open Q&A. This is part of a series of live streams I'll be doing this week, so if you missed this one, well, make sure to subscribe, to click the bell to turn on notifications, and tune in next week. And by the way, with every live stream, I'll be giving away a Yellow Productions Crew t-shirt later on, but you'll have to answer my question correctly to win. All right, so the first good news item in travel, and you're like, Chris, what's good about what's going on right now? Well, the first one is that many airlines, Delta and 15 other airlines, and probably even more than this, have dropped their flight change fees due to the coronavirus outbreak. And the change fees aren't just for flights that you've booked right now that you can't take because you can't go anywhere, but many of them have dropped change fees like for flights booked the entire year of 2020. So if you're thinking about booking a flight this summer, or you're thinking about going home for Christmas, or you're thinking about traveling somewhere for New Year's, now's actually a good time to book because you know you'll be able to change it without any change fees. And so that is the first good thing that's happening in travel, because change fees are really one of those things that are draconian, and I hate them, and I'm sure you all do too, which is one of the reasons I love Southwest Airlines, no change fees, but a lot of the other airlines have gotten the message. Now, related to no change fees, the other reason why this is really good is because travel prices are really low. They have dropped everywhere. I have never seen flight prices as low as they are right now. And now again, you might be thinking, but Chris, they are so low because nobody can go anywhere. Every place is closed. Aha. To be clear, I am not encouraging you to go anywhere right now. If you're in some place that the government's recommending don't go anywhere, which if you're in the US, the government's recommending don't go anywhere. And in many countries, governments are saying stay at home to not spread the virus. But these cheap fares go out almost all year, like 11 months. Most airlines, you can book 11 months in advance. And so when I looked at a couple of flights, like I looked at Los Angeles to Australia on Virgin Airlines, $440 round trip. I have never seen flights that cheap. Also, if you're looking to use award space, like you want to book an award ticket, award availability is way more available than it usually is. On United Airlines, there's like wide open availability through the summer from Los Angeles to London and also Los Angeles to Tel Aviv. It is almost impossible to book like West Coast to Europe in business class, but there's business class seats all throughout the schedule. So if you've got those award flights and you want to book and you plan to go, now is actually a great time to book those tickets because you don't have to worry about the change fees and they are really cheap. And Wu Taiwan says $440 to Australia, $440 to Australia. Fallout 66 says he's seen flights $18 one way to Fort Lauderdale from Detroit. That is really cheap too. And the airlines, they're hemorrhaging money right now, and so they want people to book tickets so they can get influx of money so they can continue to essentially exist. Adventure Mate says he was just at SFO. International Terminal is practically dead. I bet it is because no one can go anywhere. And SoCal says the other good thing is that prices in stocks are cheap, you know, and it's true that people often say the time to buy stocks is not when the price is up. The time to buy stocks is when the price is down. And Flynn asks if I am stuck in isolation in San Diego, Southern California, Orange County, Los Angeles, all of the Southern California cities. the mayors, governors, this and that, everybody's pretty much said, try to stay home and don't go anywhere. So that's the current posture here in Southern California, actually in most of the USA. Actually, I feel like in most of the world. I'm sure there's a few of you watching out there that might not be in a country where coronavirus is spreading rapidly, but many places it is, and so obviously everybody's trying to stem the tide. Now, the second good thing happening in travel right now is, is this good or is this bad? Well, it's first bad and then it's good. So airlines, they're not getting any money because they can't book anything. And one of the ones is Alitalia. Actually, Alitalia recently announced they're like insolvent. We have no money. We can't exist anymore. Nobody's booking flights. But actually, governments are stepping in to bail out airlines. In the case of Alitalia, the Italian government has come in to take control of Alitalia and say, yeah, I know you can't fly anywhere, but we're not going to let the airline out of business. The government's going to step in. Pretty much the same thing in the U.S. The big airlines in the U.S. have proposed an aid package to the government, which Trump has said he's supportive of, looking for like $50 billion in aid to keep floating. So I will say, if you are going to book a ticket for some flights out in the schedule, June, July, December, think about making sure that it's an airline that will be in business. But if it's one of the big ones, I likely think those governments will step in to help with that. Brian F. asks, where will I go first when the crisis is over? Probably back to Japan again. That's one of the places we're talking about going to. We haven't entirely planned it, but that's one place that is on our horizon. All right. Alex points out that there's almost no traffic on the 405, so that's probably a good thing. Though it's not one of my good things on the list, but since people aren't working, you can get around many cities that you can never get around in. Though you're not really supposed to be going anywhere unless you're going for food or to the supermarket or to the doctor. All right, the third good thing that's going on in travel right now, this text is really small. Okay, I'm going to turn it around so I can read this text. The good thing that's happening in travel right now is that hotels have also applied liberal change and cancellation policies. It was kind of weird for a while at the beginning, hotels were saying, well, you can only cancel or change if you're in an area that's been affected by the virus, but both Marriott and Hilton have recently come out and say that they'll allow customers with existing reservations, this is for Marriott, Marriott will allow customers with existing reservations, including prepaid rates that weren't cancelable, to change or cancel without any change fees up to 24 hours prior to arrival, as long as the change or cancellation is made by April 30th. So if you made your reservation with Marriott, you can change or cancel that without any fees before April 30th. And Marriott also paused the points expiration. If you had points that expire, they've paused those out, and also the expiration of suite night awards and free night awards they've made out in 2020. Now, one of the things that hotels haven't done, and it's kind of lame, but most hotel chains have not come out to say that they're extending elite status. Actually, Marriott sent an email out to say, specifically, it is too early to make changes to that, but you can imagine many of these hotel chains are going to extend elite status, do things later in the year to make it easier for people to qualify. Hyatt already has done that for people who live in Asia Pacific. They've extended their elite status out. And Hilton also, by the way, when I mentioned these complicated things, so this was Hilton's complicated policy right there. Traveling to China, Italy, South Korea, these dates, but they've recently just changed that as well. Hilton has now expanded the waiver to include all reservations, even non-refundable and advanced purchase rates, also before April 30th to mirror Marriott. So that's positive. And actually, I had to cancel some hotels I had in Texas, and it was after the reservation deadline, after the cancellation deadline, but Marriott allowed me to cancel it without any cancellation fees. Samir wants to know if I think with the coronavirus, do I think resort fees will be avoided? Ooh, I think a lot of places, particularly like Las Vegas, will be hurting to bring people back, and so I really do hope they drop the resort fees. So does Uniplex. I think many people think that. Alpha Cub points out that he had to cancel his San Jose reservation last week, less than 24 hours before checking in, and they were cool about canceling. No hotels want the bad press of being unhelpful to customers affected, so that's great. And T. Simon says it's great that I'm spreading positivity. Panic doesn't really help anybody, and I think positivity is really great for the immune system, so that's going to be one thing to help us a little bit. Crazy little thing called Tina Bear, which is like a really long channel name, says Finland is closing board tomorrow, no traveling yet. Lots of countries are absolutely closing board. And Stefan says, can we actually go to Europe from the USA? I don't recommend that you go right now. I recommend you go like once this is kind of cleared up and once this is over. And the great news is that this will not be a forever condition. We'll talk about that as we get further. Okay, number 4. Fourth good thing, speaking of hotels, this is another one, and this is kind of small, but this was put out by IHG or Holiday Inn. This is their award, this is their ways to qualify for elite status, and I mentioned that hotels haven't really changed how they qualify for elite status yet. Well, there is one, and it's IHG, which is Holiday Inn. They've changed it. Before, to get their status, the top status, you needed 75 nights, but in 2020, you're only going to need 55 nights. I would imagine as this continues, this will only get more liberal, and so that's nice of hotel chains for doing that. All right. Natalie asks, if I use a website or agency for a majority of your out-of-the-country travels or booking hotels, I'm always scared of getting scammed. I haven't traveled outside the U.S. Right, so actually one thing I should point out about these liberal cancellation policies, they are only applying to reservations that were booked directly with these hotel chains. If you somehow booked your reservation with Expedia or Booking.com, it gets way more complicated because if you try to call the hotel to cancel, they can't help you. You have to call the booking website, and they have different cancellation policies. And so that's just another reason why it's actually better to book your hotels direct, particularly if you're looking to book them out in the future. On Instagram, Henry Willoughby's joined in. He says, Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, Henry Willoughby. Thanks for joining in. And Adawa Richard asks if I have enough toilet paper, and thank you, Adawa Richard. I do, and I hope you as well. I hope you do as well. Brian F. Also has a similar question. Am I prepared? TP levels and canned food stocked. We are good to go, locked. Also, diapers and baby formula for the little one too. All right. The fifth good news in this whole thing, here's one that's come out from Uber Eats. Uber is usually in the news for people hating on Uber for some reason, but this is a positive one. Uber Eats is actually offering free delivery across the U.S. As millions of people are self-isolating. Uber Eats, Uber's put up $100 million to offer free deliveries. And so if you can't go out to a restaurant, all the dine-in ones are closed, well, you can still at least in the U.S., get your food delivered for free from Uber Eats. So Zachary Smith mentioned about the booking engines. He booked his through Priceline, and Priceline canceled all of them. He had to wait 90 minutes on hold, but they canceled everything with no fees. Zachary, thank you for the data point on Priceline. Aliana doesn't have as positive an experience on WestJet. She says the WestJet hold times were 38 hours because of cancellation. Did you call in yourself and go on hold for 38 minutes? I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, and Lon did theirs through MLife's website, which is the MGM Grand Resorts for Las Vegas. Broke their heart to cancel, I'm sure, Lon. Nobody loves to cancel a trip or cancel a vacation, but it's definitely the thing to do right now, right? right? When they say pink is the new black, definitely the word of 2020 is canceled. Jim Bluff on Instagram asks, how soon am I willing to travel to Japan? It is too soon for me to answer that question because we haven't really seen when the end of this is. But I'm sure there will be an end. But ask me that question again later as the data becomes more clear on things going down. Let's see. Speaking of toilet paper and things like that, Seth was recently in Hawaii, and Seth said he got stocked up on Lee Hing Mui in Hawaii. That's good. It's one of those things that's much easier to get in Hawaii than anywhere else. Johnson's got a trip for August to Vegas, and it's really cheap. He said he watched my review on the Marriott Grand Chateau, and that seemed like the best bet for my week-long trip. Yeah, good plans, and I think Marriott Grand Chateau, one of my favorite hotels there in Las Vegas. All right. So let's go on to number 6. The sixth good thing that's going on right now. This is going on in the city of Los Angeles. It was actually this article that I read that made me decide to do this video because I thought this was really good news. And that is that Los Angeles is going to temporarily stop ticketing during street sweeping. So if you are traveling to Los Angeles or you live in Los Angeles and you're parked on the street, and it's one of the days of street sweeping, they will not give you a parking ticket. I think that's very kind of Los Angeles. As someone who has been a victim of really ridiculous parking tickets in Los Angeles, if you've never been to Los Angeles, when you get there, when you look at the street signs, it'll be like no parking every third Tuesday, odd numbers, odd hours, these sides of the street, but only when you're not looking or standing on your head. So this is... yeah, it's nice of Los Angeles to not really dink people for that. And by the way, if you're just joining in the live stream, 8 good things happening in travel right now is what we are talking about. And this is part of my live stream series that I'll be doing one every night this week because many of us are stuck at home practicing social distancing. So I'm glad that all of you are practicing social distancing with me. See, we are being social and we are being distant. So this is totally perfect. All right. The 7th good thing that's going on in travel right now is they're encouraging everybody to stay home. People who have tech lifestyles enable them a safe escape from the virus. Safe escape right here. All of you have a tech lifestyle because you're on this whole live streaming thing. Now, the other thing that I think is kind of good about this, about a lot of people being encouraged to telecommute in places they've never been encouraged to telecommute before. People are spending a lot less time commuting. There's a lot less cars on the road, so there's a lot less pollution. Actually, I was reading a news article, and it's sort of hard to believe this. I'm not sure I believe the data point, but I'm going to re-report it anyway, that in Beijing, their air quality is 25% better because of all the coronavirus restrictions, and actually the baby birth weight has gone up because moms have been healthier because there's been less pollution. Again, I don't have a source for you on that one, but that was one I read. I also read an article that coronavirus was being found in toilet paper, which it's not. So there's a lot of fake news out there. But definitely air is being cleaner from all of this. People aren't going to work. They're not going to bars. They're not going to restaurants, which means people are spending more time with their family. More time with family is always good. And third, the thing that's still open is nature. Nature's still open. The beach is open. Hikes are still open. And so people are spending more time outside where it's healthy, which is really fantastic because there's not a lot that to do. EEA says one of the best things about the lack of traffic is it's so much quieter. I bet it is. That's a great data point as well. Alpha Cub says another great thing about this is that the baby rate in December will rise. I bet it will with all of the people that are trapped inside. Samir says, why do people in the USA not wear a mask, but Asian cities they wear? Wow, this could be a long point, so I'm going to try to give my short answer to the long point. But probably one of them is in the U.S., the Center for Disease Control actually recommends against the general public wearing masks because the U.S. Center for Disease Control states that masks are not effective for the general public because the general public doesn't know how to wear them. There's gaps. They reuse them. Perhaps they touch the mask and that had some virus on it, and then they touch their face when they're taking the mask off, which gets them sick. Anyway, that is why the majority of people in the U.S. don't wear the masks, because the guidance is don't wear masks from the US CDC. Whether you agree with that guidance or not, that is the prevailing guidance. In Asia, particularly in Japan, like, it's a culture to wear masks, so they love wearing masks, and so wearing masks is not like a big deal for them. The other thing I'll say about the masks, sometimes masks aren't as much for people themselves not to get sick, but like in the case of the virus, if you're like coughing or sneezing, the mask at least helps that from going out. So when we were in Japan 6 weeks ago or something like that, a lot of hotel staff were wearing masks. You could think those are just as much for the protection of the guest from the staff being sick as it is for the staff themselves. Alpha Cub says, apparently need to have a beard with the masks. Apparently need to not have a beard with the mask too. That makes sense. If you have a beard, it probably doesn't work all that well. And Asians don't really have like big, thick beards, which probably makes those work a bit better. Let's see. Avil says, I didn't read his comment because I got a lot of comments and I'm not trying to ignore anybody's, but I can only read so many of them. But for the next live stream, I should do best things to do in Las Vegas. I will consider that for when Las Vegas reopens because I think people will love that once Las Vegas is open again. Chris559 says, have I checked out the Flight Radar 24 app recently? It's amazing to see the lack of air traffic. I bet I haven't, because I haven't been flying. I usually do that when I fly, so that's why I haven't. Lois on Facebook says, please don't go into a bank wearing a mask. That is great advice as well. There was this like Conan O'Brien sketch where he was going around his office and he was saying, you know, there's a shortage of masks and you can't buy masks. But the great part about the Conan O'Brien show is they have a costume department. And so he went around and handed out, you know, like clown masks and Reagan masks to help his staff prevent the spread. I'm sure his staff really appreciated it. And of course, they work with Conan O'Brien, who's a comedian, for those who don't know Conan. All right. The eighth good thing that's happening in travel right now, and this is something that's happening in China, and I just had to share this because people look at what's happening right now and they're like, this is going to be forever. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, you know, 2 months ago, everybody was talking about how bad things are in China and how everything's closed in China and everybody's shuttered in. Well, it's not a forever condition, and actually all 42 Apple stores in China have reopened. And we can certainly say, you know, there's something about what the Chinese media or press is releasing to the world, but when Apple's reopened their stores, you know that things are trending better in China. Also, in China, they've recently closed all of the special hospitals that they set up to deal with the virus because they didn't have enough capacity. They no longer need all that capacity because in China, the curve is going down. So in any place that is going up, eventually it will go down. Now, it may continue to go up for a while before it goes down, but please at least keep hope about light at the end of the tunnel. On Instagram, Paul the Trombonist asks if I have ever grown a beard. And I did. I have grown a beard. I think if you want to see me in a beard, if you look at the last time I had a beard was probably in 2008. So I think if you look at my Norway video, I have a beard in the Norway video. Just search for Yellow Productions Norway or Yellow Productions Oslo, or look at my channel and sort the videos by oldest to newest, and that is like one of the first videos that I posted up there. By the way, this is the question and answer portion of the video. So if I didn't answer your questions earlier, hit me up again because I'm going to be going through the questions as they are asked in the stream. And Seth asked about the Apple stores. Have the fake Apple stores reopened? I'm sure the fake Apple stores probably never closed. The fakes are probably so good that we wouldn't even know they are fake. Joseph Evans says, the word of 2020 is not canceled, it's martial law 2020. Yeah, I was reading an interesting article about Italy, and somebody asked earlier about if we're praying for Italy, and we should definitely be praying for Italy. But an article in Italy about they basically locked down the entire country. But unless you're exercising, if you're exercising, you can go outside. And so Italians that are not typically runners, now apparently all of them have running attire so that they can actually go outside. Because if you're outside and you look like a runner, then the police won't bother you. Anil says Canada's closed too. Canada's closed for international flights. New York asks if we have any plans to travel by air coming up. We currently have 0 travel plans booked. We canceled anything that we had out, and we're not booking anything until we know what's going on. Andrew says, question going to Disney in July. Do I think it'll be open? One would hope. It's hard to say. There's some data that talks about that the virus can't spread as much in hot weather. Florida's a hot weather place. Assuming that these measures we put into place do well, then we can hope it reopens. There's also work on vaccines, but those will probably take a while. So, but you know, with the cancellation policies, right? Go ahead and book it. And if it doesn't look good a couple weeks out, then change it and change it and change it until it starts to look better. Okay. Maria says, Washington, D.C. in May. Should I cancel? I would take a look at the cancellation policies of the airlines and hotels you have, and then wait until a couple days before those turnip to decide whether you should cancel that or not. Flynn asks if I can do some more travel guides on Tokyo. So I have a robot restaurant video. Check out Yellow Productions Robot Restaurant. I also have Disneyland and Disney Sea, so check out Yellow Productions Disneyland, Disney Sea. And we were recently in Tokyo 6 weeks ago. I have a whole bunch of videos I shot. They will be coming out. Stefan wants to know if national parks are open. At least as of last weekend, we were at Joshua Tree National Park last weekend, and they were still open. I've not checked in the last 3 days what their current status is. Hugh Ring wants to know if Las Vegas will be rolling again by May. That's another one that one can hope. The current order in Nevada was to shut down all casinos for 30 days. So that's the current thing. So April 17th is probably when they're going to look at that and reevaluate. So April 17th is probably when you'll know whether they'll be open up again in May or not. James asks if I have recommendations for websites to check to see how Japan is handling things and its borders. I want to find out if Japan will be closing its borders like Canada did. Yeah, I would go, the way I search for a lot of things is I go to news.google.com and then I search for, COVID-19, Japan, COVID-19, Las Vegas, and that's the way I find a lot of stuff. So that'd be my recommendation to you. EA Leathers asks if I've stayed at Bally's in Las Vegas. I have never stayed at Bally's. I put that in the category of an older hotel that's probably sorely in need of a big remodel. So that one's not high on my list. Kathy says a few Apple stores in Australia have now closed. Yeah, we're seeing a trend. Just more stores are closing. Nike stores are closed. Columbia stores are closed. REI is closed. So there are a lot of stores closing. Secret Name says, I was just in Southern California 2 weeks, my honeymoon back in Australia, locked inside for 2 weeks. Lucky we got to go to Disneyland before they closed. Lucky, Secret Name. And lucky you're able to join into the live stream today. EEA wants to know how Germany has fared so far. I don't know. Do we have any viewers online for Germany? It's really late or early there, so I doubt it. But if there's any night owls from Germany, would love to hear from you how things are faring. Sean wants to know what countries that you went to are safe from the virus. Small countries are probably safe from the virus, but they're probably places that nobody can go to. So I wouldn't recommend travel at all right now, because the whole thing about, well, what borders are open and what things are going to be closed and what regulations are going to happen. I don't want any of you to go anywhere and be stuck and not be able to get home. Jim Bluff 2 on Instagram asks, what is my recommended Marriott brand hotel in Tokyo? It depends if you like fancy or not. If you just like a great location, I like the Courtyard Tokyo Station Hotel. It's really near Tokyo Station. It's centrally located. I don't really love a lot of the other Marriotts in Tokyo because they have really bad locations. So that's the one I would recommend, because it's the one that has a good location. Let's see. Fallout says, hey Chris, once this pandemic is over, will you ever visit Michigan? We got waterfalls, lakes, lots of other stuff to do. It's just a long drive north of the Detroit area. I would love to visit Michigan and come visit the Great Lakes. It's on my list. So yeah, I hope so. Mark asked if airlines are discounting award flights, lowering the number of points needed. I haven't seen that yet, but there is a lot of availability that there isn't typically, and a lot of availability at the saver level, which are generally like, so you can get business class awards to Europe at the saver level, where they're usually only available at the higher price tiers. So you could say they are, because they're making more seats available in those lower priced buckets. Doria says Hawaii probably wasn't too bad to travel since there's only 13 cases for now. Let's see. Jake asks if I think the Olympics will still happen this summer. You know, Japan's invested a lot in the Olympics, and so I think Japan's pushing to have the Olympics, but I think that's one that they've said they will make that call in May. And Japan still hasn't started tapering down, and we haven't really seen the world tapering down, so I'm not sure that Japan would want to let in an influx of people that would then make Japan worse again. AJ says about the exercise, I guess when I was talking about Italy and people running, I wish we were allowed to go exercise. AJ, where do you live that you're not allowed to go outside and exercise? Wu Tai says Africa travel videos. Yeah, Africa might be a great place right now. Though you probably don't want to end up in the hospital there. So please don't say Chris told me to travel to Uganda. Blab says, what city in the world has the best food? I really like the food in Singapore, #1, and then Tokyo, #2. Let me go to a few Instagram comments. Adawa Richard says, recently visited San Francisco and drove to LA. The smell of the park forest was amazing. Can I buy that in a bottle? Boy, that would be nice. One Rianto? I probably didn't read that right. Says, thanks for your videos. I'm from Brazil, and we were going to Vegas, but we had to cancel it. We were going this Friday. Hope this outbreak ends soon, as we all do. Alex was recently down here from Portland. He felt bad for the businesses in downtown Disney. Less than 300 people on a Saturday night, which is usually shoulder to shoulder on the weekend. I bet you had the place all to yourselves. T. Simon asked if I'm sad about the closing of In-N-Out Burger. I am very sad about the closing of the dining room right now, at least around here. In-N-Out Burger is still open for drive-through. Though I'm sure that'll get closed soon too, and then I will be extra sad. Anil wants to know if we're planning any wilderness self-isolation, for example, camping. I guess like we sort of did nature self-isolation these past couple weekends. We visited Joshua Tree. We went for a hike on Sunday. I don't like camping. When I was maybe 13, I went camping in the Boy Scouts, and overnight I couldn't sleep. It was raining, my tent was leaking, the tent was wet. It was a really bad experience. I've never been camping again since that. I don't think I will cancel. I don't think I will go camping again. So, and OC Girl and I have this interesting debate about we should go glamping, and I'm like, it sounds too close to camping. So, camping not high on the list. Alpha Cub says, Chris, opinion please. If Universal Osaka is closed, my backup plan is seeing Nagoya, and if Disneyland is closed, I'm going to go see Yokohama for the first time. Any better recommendations? I think those are two great recommendations. I've got a video on Nagoya Castle. You can check that out. I've also got a video on Yokohama. You can check that out too. From Tokyo, if you haven't been to Nikko, I would recommend Nikko above Yokohama, assuming Nikko is open. Okay. Alina, Young says, "Do you have pets?" It's one of those pronouncing names on live streams can be really hard and embarrassing. So forgive me if I pronounce anybody's name wrong. We have one pet. We have a rabbit. His name is MacGyver. On Instagram, his handle is MacGyver the Bunny. If you want to check out pictures of our bunny, and maybe OC Girl, she's in the chat. OC Girl, if you could drop a link in the chat to MacGyver's Instagram, that would be cool. Andrew says, Chris, I called American Airlines last week. I left my phone overnight. I woke up waiting 6 hours. No rep answered. Yeah, the call times for airlines are really rough right now. Jim Bluff on Instagram asks, what do I think about Florida being inundated with spring breakers this week, giving the no travel restrictions? Kids, I guess. Kids that don't appreciate the levity of the situation. I also think they probably thought, hey, I'm going to the beach, so I won't be around that many people, but a lot of us have probably seen the videos at the beach being packed, which I wouldn't want to be at one of those beaches. FeeMode85 on Instagram asks, what have you and OC Girl been binge watching lately while staying in more? One of the ones we've started, it's the Apple TV show about space and NASA. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. And Cannon Crumpton asks, what's my favorite mall in Las Vegas? Probably one of the outlet malls, maybe the one that's closer to downtown. And Stefan answered my Germany question, said that Germany has closed its borders. I guess that's how Germany is handling it. And Ken's Travels says Taiwan has done exceptionally well, but I would agree that traveling internationally is a bad idea. Everything gets shut down, right? They shut down the border in Peru, and a friend of Kanisha's is stuck there. So great data point about why now's not a great time to travel. Adam asks if I like Detroit. I have never been to Detroit. Veronica asks, how's the baby? Our little exploring princess is great. I don't have the picture up here for this live stream, but I was showing off her picture in yesterday's live stream, so you could check out yesterday's live stream. Link in the description below to my playlist of all my live streams and vlogs, so that's where you can find the link to that live stream. Margaret has canceled her trip to Vegas. I wonder I can go on my flight. You can, if you're traveling in the U.S., flights aren't canceled. Flights are still going. They're just, the recommendation is not to do any non-essential travel. The Uniplex wants to know if the bunny is jealous of the baby. I think the bunny is jealous of the baby because I think MacGyver, our bunny, is not getting as much attention as he used to. W. Shake says they were out bike riding and went by CVS and they were receiving a toilet paper truck shipment. There were 4 sheriff cars hanging out for security. That's crazy that people are stealing toilet paper. I assume that's why security is there. Brian F., if I'm eating In-N-Out Burger 2 nights in a row, I would never eat In-N-Out Burger 2 nights in a row. Okay, maybe I would. Actually, OC Girl and I have had a joke about, can I eat? I've eaten In-N-Out Burger twice a day for lunch and dinner. Can I eat it 3 times a day? It's hard to fit 3 meals in because they only open at 10:30, but I guess I probably could. Real Reacher likes the In-N-Out Burger cup. Adam wants to know if I like Maryland, D.C. I do like the Washington, D.C. area. I've got a video on 10 things to know before you go to Washington, D.C. If you want to check that out. By the way, I'm going to be doing the t-shirt giveaway in about 5 minutes. And I'll say if you want to get in on the t-shirt giveaway, you have to be on YouTube. I'm going to take the comments on YouTube. Otherwise, with 3 live streams going, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, it's hard to figure out who said it first because each one of these has a different level of delay. So if you want to get in on the t-shirt, hop on over to the YouTube live stream, and I'll ask a question here in a little bit. Whoever answers that correctly gets to win the t-shirt. W Shakes asks, what's my favorite Hawaiian island? Depends for what. For food, I like Oahu. For beaches, I like Maui. And if I want to be alone, like if I want to go right now, I'd want to go to Kauai because I'd want to like isolate myself. And Kauai is really big and lots of places you can just be by yourself. Chris559 asks, I've ever been to the Central Valley of California. I've driven through, but I haven't spent a lot of time in California's Central Valley. Kirk recently was in Hawaii and went to Tonkatsu Ginza Byron, and it was amazing. Awesome, Kirk. I'm glad to hear that. That is in my Cheap Eats video for Waikiki, if anybody wants to check that out. Jack wants to know if I like Sonic. Nah, it doesn't hold a candle to In-N-Out Burger. Grant asked if I got the Eagle Award for camping. I did not. Yes. And hello from Japan. Thanks for tuning in. Samir asks, who is OC Girl? OC Girl is my wife. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, you should know that. Maybe you haven't. There's probably a bunch of you that are new to this live stream. She likes her anonymity and she likes to be behind the camera, so she goes by OC Girl. And by the way, if you ever wonder who's the voice of Topher, OC Girl is the voice of Topher. Ken asked if we've been taking advantage of food delivery. We've always liked Uber Eats. Or there's also, in this case, there's Hubby Food Pickup, so I go get food too. Statler asks, have you ever had German Chinese food? An hour after you're done, you're hungry for power. Nice, I like that. That's a great joke. But oh, I've never had German Chinese food. W Shakes wants to know if I visited the Yamato Battleship Museum in Japan. I never have. And if you're looking for MacGyver's Instagram, I put it on the screen right there for you Instagram viewers. You can check that out. And the so it's like MacGyver, MACGYVER_ the bunny. All right. Raya wants to know, what time is it for me? It is 8:12 p.m. here in California. Manuela wants to know if we've been to Portugal. We sure have. We've been to Lisbon, Porto, Nazaré, and Coimbra. And we've got videos on all those places if you want to check them out. Shane wants to know if I think booking hotels flights will be harder. I think it'll be easier because I think they'll have discounts and cheaper and they'll want to get people coming back again. So I think there'll be lots of cheap things. Alina says she loves the bunny. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Wes says, when was the last time you went to Disneyland? February was the last time we went to Disneyland. Let's see. Seth says he has accepted that 3 In-N-Out Burger in 1 day challenge, and he has had 3 In-N-Out Burgers in 1 day. That is really impressive, Seth. Ricky says, why don't I give out more t-shirts? Why don't I give out YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook winners? You know, I did that yesterday. I gave out YouTube and Instagram. But doing a live stream every day, it gets taxing. And I know this is the woe is me. This is the sad thing about it. Part of the like the t-shirts is my thing to be like the small ad revenue that I get from videos. I put back into t-shirts and I put back into things to give to all of y'all. Because travel's been hit, my views on videos have gone down considerably. Like in a week, not in a week, in a 48-hour period, Yellow Productions would get somewhere like across all videos 80 to 100,000 views. This 48-hour period, I'm at 20,000 views. So you can imagine that the small ad revenue has gotten even smaller. I know, woe is me. But if you do want to buy a t-shirt, I have made those available on Etsy. I have an Etsy shop in the link in the description below, and Etsy I think ships to many places, so you can check those out if you don't get to win one. But Ricky, I know that you have won actually many shirts, so Ken's Travels asks if I'm a fan of Shake Shack. They just opened a location in Long Beach. It's across the street from an In-N-Out. It sure is. We've eaten at that one. I am a fan of Shake Shack. I like it quite a bit. And usually when people say things like fighting words, like Ryan right here, that says Shake Shack is better than In-N-Out, I'm actually not going to pick a fight with you on that, Ryan. Shake Shack's really tasty, but Shake Shack's more expensive. So it's kind of in a different category, really, in my opinion. MP says, hey, thanks for doing these live streams this week. Gives me something to look forward to at night. How did you meet your wife? We met at a place that we both worked at. I was a newly graduated computer scientist, and Osigirl was a newly graduated electrical engineer. We started at the same place within like 2 weeks of each other, and it was a budding romance from there. Actually, we knew each other for a couple years before we went out on our first date. OC Girl also says, related to Uber Eats, there's a lot more restaurants on it, including Pepper Lunch, which is often one that hasn't done delivery before. Let's see. Crystal asks if I get a lot of fan mail because I'm in the middle of sending some right now. Well, certainly all the pandas back here are fan mail, and what's kind of cool about this is people have sent more than just pandas. They've sent names for pandas. They've sent other things, right? Some awesome fans from Australia sent this kangaroo right here. So if you do want to send me some fan mail and it's like actual mail, this is where you could mail me stuff. This is my P.O. Box, Chris Rainey, 1180 Rosecrans Street, number 201. San Diego, California, 92106. All right, and I love fan mail. If you want to send me anything for the sofa back there, that sofa and all those pandas, that's what inspired the Yellow Productions crew t-shirt. And so now I think it's probably time to announce the question to win the Yellow Productions t-shirt. So if you were on the live stream earlier, you'll remember what I said for number 8. What I said for number 8 was, I asked how many Apple stores have reopened in China. My statement was, this many Apple stores have reopened in China. So the question is, how many Apple stores have reopened in China? If you get the right number, you drop in the chat, and you're the first person to drop the number in the chat, then you will win a Yellow Productions crew t-shirt shipped to you anywhere in the world. And Stephen Green is really fast. Stephen Green said the number is 42. That's right, all 42 Apple stores in China have reopened. So Stephen Green, you win a Yellow Production shirt. And you can either send me a message on Facebook, or you can send me an email with your address and what size you want. This is my email address. Note, this has 2 W's in yellow.net. Everybody who gave all the other answers are wrong. I will answer a few more questions, and then if you missed out on questions today or yours didn't get answered, it's not because I don't care. It's just that there were so many, and there were so many of you watching, and so I will be live streaming again tomorrow night, about the same time, 7:30 p.m., so you can tune in. Jenny Fed says, it looks like I came into this at the end of the live chat. Jenny, this is wrapping up, but you'll be able to watch the archive in just a few minutes after this wraps up. So Adam asks if I believe the virus will slow down, and if I believe the virus slowdown in China is lying to you. I don't believe Apple would reopen their stores if China was lying to us, and so I mean, are the numbers all accurate? I don't know. I can't really say. I don't really want to say. I don't really want to speculate. Tiffany wants to know if I think the Illuminati made the coronavirus. It probably did. Statler said the stalkers have been notified. The address I gave out's a P.O. box. So, let's see. And I will answer this as the last question, which is Crystal Wolf says, what inspired you to start doing YouTube? Because all of my subscribers ask me if I know that. Yeah, so what inspired me to start doing YouTube was... So OC Girl and I, we took our first trip together to Japan in 2004. And when we took that trip in 2004, like, we kind of made some home movies of our trip that I made as like MPEG files. I posted up on my personal website. And it was kind of like a family vlog, and our friends and family would watch it. And then they would ask questions about like, hey, that's nice, but did you... how did you take the train, or did you buy a JR pass, or where did you stay? Oh, I answered those questions. And then we went to some other places like Italy and to Venice and Rome, and I made similar videos when people asked the same questions. Where did you stay in Rome? How was the subway? How did you get to Venice? And so then I kind of quickly realized that what people were really interested in was they were interested in like the information about how to travel. And YouTube started up like 2006, 7, anyway, a couple years before I figured out was there. 2008 is when I started the Yellow Productions channel. Why is it yellow? Because I drive a yellow car. And so that was where the name Yellow Productions came from. Then the videos, they just became more informative, and then also like my most popular video ever was the 5 worst cheap hotels on the Las Vegas Strip, which kind of soared the popularity of my Las Vegas series. And I keep doing them because you all keep watching, and I think that's fantastic. I love to hear feedback from all of you, especially when people come up to us in real life and say that the videos help with their trip, help with their honeymoon, help with their anniversary, and so that is why I keep doing it. A lot of people ask if you know, like we must do it full time. People watch this and assume it's our full-time job. It is so not our full-time job. As I mentioned, the money helps to cover like the t-shirts that I send out, and the website fees, and the subtitles that I put in the videos, and the camera gear, and it's amazingly expensive to make YouTube videos. And I'm not complaining, because I love doing it, and I love that you all watch. But people think that there's a lot more money in YouTube than there actually is. And so both OC Girl and I have full-time office jobs. And so if you haven't checked out my second channel is called The Office Survival Guide, where I give you tips not just to survive the office week, but give you the skills you need to crush it. And there will be a new Office Survival Guide video coming out tomorrow. A lot of you asked. That'll be coming out in the morning. That'll be coming out 7 a.m. if you're stuck at home. And then tomorrow night, another live stream like this, with also a Q&A at the end. All right, and if I didn't get to your question, well, come back tomorrow and ask the questions again, because I know I didn't get to all of them. And as usual, I won't say goodbye, because I'll see you all in the next video.